Hello everyone. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different than what I usually put on the channel. It's something that might go on another channel, but it was just a little idea I had as I was modifying my own white controller. And as I was going about modifying this controller, I realized that it was absolutely fucking filthy. So in order to rectify that, I took some Q-tips and some isopropyl alcohol and I started to clean it myself. And it turned out pretty good. But it was also very relaxing. And I also found that it was very similar to the ASMR content that I myself like to watch. So in order to accommodate that, I've taken this not quite as filthy orange controller, and we're going to open it with our trusty tri-wing here. And then we will clean it with our wonderful Q-tips. And some isopropyl alcohol. 91%, mind you. Good stuff. Very good stuff. I may talk a bit through it. I might be silent during parts, but I'll try to keep things flowing as best as I possibly can. Alright, so first thing we have to do is we have to get the cord out of the way. Can't have that as we're cracking open a controller. I should also mention that I am not a controller modification expert in any way. Thus, the opinions that I may express here are not the opinions of an expert. Just want to leave that in there so that I don't have to worry about where it gets off to. The lighting of my computer screen is not the most flattering thing for my pale corpse hands. But we don't have any foundation and we don't have any decent lighting, so we're just gonna put up with it. And no, I don't wear foundation on my hands. Though I wouldn't be opposed to it. That is, if the rest of me were suitably tanned. All right, moment of truth. Oh. It was unusual. It was stuck to the back. I've never had that happen before. It probably hasn't been opened in years. Where do you go? Uh-huh. We won't be needing that for now. Alright, let's see what we're working with. Pretty standard deal. I'm going to take out the internals, rest them over here. Alrighty. Let's make this just a little dimmer. It's quite bright. A bit of alcohol on a Q-tip. And then we're going to gently clean any edges. And crevasses that we can. Really just gross, but there's no real preventing all the dust that gets in these things. I think that's good. This one was not quite so disgusting. My own controller required a good 20 minutes. 20 or so minutes of somewhat intensive scrubbing with Q-tips. But that's a controller I've been using for several years now. Oh, we tripped a bit. Not really a deal breaker here. I believe the stick box on this controller is a little bit out of whack, so it's not exactly something that we can have in commission as it is, but I think it's good to have these things cleaned just in case you ever get the opportunity to replace some of the guts with something better. In which case, you would probably clean it before you did the replacement, but we've got to have something to do on camera here, right? You can see in that top area, it'd be very easy to get dust in that section. Alright, I say we move on to the other part of the shell, and we do our best that we can there. Alright, we need to make sure the screws are kind of contained, so I'm going to put them in front of my monitor, out of view. Some of these screws are more metallic than others. This one probably has a higher concentration of iron in it. This one less so. Oh no, this one's just stuck. I was gonna say, it'd be strange if they were different types of screws in a controller this old. ones. We're just going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. Oh, it's just the one in here. There we go. Lovely. Alright, let's do what we are going to do. I'm not going to take apart the triggers, although it is worth mentioning that they are a very sensitive part of the controller, and that making sure that they are cleaned is very important. I'll show you my box of Q-tips, my Top Care Wegmans brand Q-tips. I'm just taking right from the box because I don't know how many this is going to take. Go from the way things are going so far, probably not very many. All right. Let's do the edges first again. Oh. This one's tricky. You can see here. Oh, goodness. There we go. Much better. It's very hard to get enough leverage, even on the table, to get this cleaned. It's time for another Q-tip. See if we can do this without any alcohol here. Though, with the way this is going, probably not. Let's get a bit more alcohol. This is the real problem area. The bottom half. You know, the edge part really does not so much impact performance. But it is just good to be clean. Yeah, we can agree on that. It's an improvement. It's not perfect. I really should have like a very thin blade of some kind to really get the center out. much, much better. Perfect, perfect. Here, I'll show you. If we could focus. Actually, the camera's useful because now I'm seeing some spots that I missed. Though we didn't quite get up here yet. I almost wish there were steel wool Q-tips you could use. Almost. Better. Much better. I would say. Alrighty. More isopropyl alcohol. And then the rest of this does not seem quite so bad, which is for the better. I'm going to do this a little bit faster. See if we can expedite the process just a tiny bit. Oh, problem area again. Probably going to spend another 5 minutes here. No, that went quite well. Let's take a quick look, shall we? Oh, it's gross. Never mind. Here. Only on the side, really. Human eyes won't be so discerning. Especially when it's closed, you know. Lovely. Lovely. Isn't that perfect? Isn't that just wonderful? Fortunately, the inside of this one seems pretty untouched. As I've said, it's a much older controller, and it's been hermetically sealed for God knows how many years. It's also not been used very much, to my knowledge. It's not like the person using this plays Fox or anything. That is Fox in Super Smash Bros. Melee, for those of you who are unaware. Excellent, excellent. Alright, now I don't think we're going to make very much progress, but there is quite a bit of either grime or leftover Sharpie on the back here. And I'm going to see if I can even lighten that just a little bit so that it's not quite so bad. I rather like the sound of isopropyl alcohol. It sounds lighter than water in some ways. I mean, it literally is. Oh, progress immediately. Yes, I want to say that that is an ink of some kind. That is very obviously an ink. This will take some doing. Might actually want to get some cotton balls for this. Comes right up. It's just ink. And diluted enough, we should be able to take most of it off. I just hope I don't stain the whole damn thing. Just drip it right on. Perfect. I could probably bear to do no talking versions of these things, but I like to chat through my processes. I have no real interest in doing things silently. I wonder what is written on the back here. If somebody just really wanted to highlight Nintendo. Might actually be better to let something like this soak. Well, we've succeeded in some ways in lightening the lettering here, but we've also succeeded in making the rest of this part incredibly dingy. Don't want it to be dingy, do we? Goodness. There's a lot of ink on here. Well then. I was a little worried we wouldn't have enough to do, but we still have the other side of this. Now that's looking a lot better. Not perfect, but better. As you can see, this side's a little darker than the other. Just simply due to the ink moving around in the process of cleaning here. Just gonna give this one last touch up, and then we'll move on. Alright, let's get this cleaned up. You know, I'm starting to think someone just like took a pen and was tracing on the back of their GameCube controller. Which is perfectly possible, you know, children. Children playing video games? Thought it was only us in our 20s and 30s and 40s. That's great. That looks wonderful. Look at that. Come on, adjust. Too close, I think. Oh. There we go. There's something. But yeah, as you can see, that looks a lot better. This side is still, oh god, just miserable. But we could do a little bit more work on that, I think. Why not? Live a little. I'm not quite sure what I intended to do with this controller, or what the actual owner does. It's more of a joint project, but it's always possible that we get a Goomwave motherboard and take it to town, maybe do some notching. Notching is tricky business. But I'm very interested in it. Might even do some notching myself. But for now, this will suffice. I almost want to get the OxyClean out, you know? Bleach your GameCube controllers. No, don't actually do that. I'm sure there will be some terrible side effect of it. The springs in these controllers, in this specific controller, is pretty good, I'd say. What shall we do? Deciding. Let's do one last trace, I say, around each, and we'll do like a quick checkup. We'll see if there are any problem areas that we've missed or chosen to ignore. Then I think we'll move to the outside face. Do a quick brush over on that. fun, I say. There we go. All right. That looks pretty good. Wonderful. I wish I'd done mine half this well. One last trace around this side, and then outside. As best we can without having the buttons go all over the place, because putting those back in is just a nightmare. Though we are going to have to take some of them out now that I think about it. All right. It's looking good. Perfect. Okay. Ah, not the start button. Okay, just kind of let these organically fall out. Don't want them to get too lost here. We've kind of already done the back of the other one, so that's not something we have to worry about. Okay. Oop. Delicate machinery. Tricky to a fault, but, you know, worthwhile. Putting it back together will be an exciting time. Shouldn't be too bad. I've done it before, I could do it again. Alright. The outside shell actually looks pretty good on this one. It's not too much to talk about. Just gonna check some of it, like here. Very bad. Up here. Looks good, pretty much. There's not too much to say. Oh, we love to see it. Oh, right. Letters collect dust, so any engraved parts of the plastic is something that I should probably pay attention to. Though this start/pause looks pretty good. Generally speaking. just rolling it lightly over this has picked up a little bit of dirt or ink or whatever. And it looks a lot better now. Getting this thing to focus is a nightmare and a half, but with a black background it might just be that causing it. And the inside of this shell also, you know, we looked at it earlier, but it's pretty good. I'd say we're fine on that front. Wonderful. We love to see it. Okay, now let's get the buttons back in before I freak out. X, jumping. Y, also for jumping. A, attack. B, special. Then, of course, this important part, which communicates with the motherboard. What input is being given. Then our control stick, or directional stick, I should say. What am I talking about? Start pause. Start pause. Very pressy. Grab. This one's a little tricky to finagle in, but not the worst. Offender. That would be basically everything on the back. There we go. Love it. Truly. Okay. Now for the difficult bit. Getting everything back together. Which really is not the end of the world difficult, but it is a little tricky. For this one, I mean, usually you rest it on the face, but I think it wants me to do it the other way around because of how it came apart. If you'll remember, it stuck to the back. Usually it rests on the front. At least in my experience with controllers. Which means we're going to have to turn this over. This is weird. Pop it right in here. Okay, now this takes some doing, so bear with me. Let's rest it in the front like we're used to and get everything aligned. Together here. Okay, that fits in over around this plastic bit. It's very important we get Z in. Y and Z. Or Z if you're from the UK or Canada. Snap. Perfect. Not really. No, something's wrong. Did we do it backwards? We did it backwards. That's quite alright. All the more time to adjust. I knew there was something amiss here, but I couldn't quite figure it out. And now I have. Once again, loop on this plastic bit. perfect. And then once everything rests in there, we can get this to work. Okay, everything feels right. All right. Now, I don't really think you have to do this, but when I put my controllers back together... Oh, what's wrong? Why are you so needy? That Z button. You naughty thing, you. Stay in place. We've got things to do. I've got places to be. You can't just keep jumping out like that. Okay, now what is the problem? It always takes a couple tries, no matter how good you are. Unless, of course, you're working with extreme precision. In which case, it really won't take you that many tries. Something's still not right. I'm gonna tap it a couple times. Maybe things will fall into place. Something is just slightly misaligned. Just slightly. What could it be? See, we've had this conversation. All right. Now are you ready to behave? That's exactly it. Okay. Now, as I was saying about 5 minutes ago, I don't really think you have to do this, but I like to tighten my GameCube controllers as if it were a tire. So you would go in a star pattern, but, you know, GameCube controllers aren't shaped like stars. Ooh, I'm making a lot of noise. So I like to crisscross it a little bit. I'll do this middle one, then this top one. Actually, I don't think that's true. No, this is wrong. It's all wrong. It's alright, though. Just started at the beginning. Zigzags. Zigzags is what we should do. So, bottom left or right. Probably opposites. No, that probably works. The middle. Top left. Okay. You good in there? Okay, good. Top, no. We did bottom left, middle, bottom right. Tight, but not too tight, you know? Top right, and then the middle to finish it off. And I managed to get through this without losing any buttons or screws, which is truly an accomplishment. Glorious. Perfect. Moment of truth. Did we do it right? Starts fine. Controller stick fine. Perfect. And there you have it. A much cleaner orange GameCube controller. Although, as I've set this back part, we may have to work on a little bit more, but there's not a whole lot you can do about it with just Q-tips and alcohol. Another time. Let's finish this off by just sort of touching up the sticks here. And then I'll leave you. If you're using this to get to sleep, well, I'm sure there are other videos you could have used, but thank you for using mine. And I hope you have a good night, or day, or evening, or afternoon, or whatever time you may be enjoying. I hope you take care, and that life is not hard for you.